Yo, guys, if what's been uncovered here holds up, Adam Schiff has been committing felonies all over the country. And he might have also committed voter fraud by illegally running for re-election. We gotta dig into this.
One such bog dweller, it should come as no surprise to anyone, is chief Trump-hating, failed Hollywood scriptwriter, California Representative Adam Schiff. Veteran investigators Christine Bish and John Stubbins filed an ethics complaint last week alleging that Adam Schiff committed fraud and perjury by declaring both his homes in California and Maryland as his primary residence, thereby violating state and federal laws. The ethics complaint lists apparent discrepancies in Schiff's voting record, where Schiff claims both homes in Maryland and California as primary residences between 2002 and 2013.
In fact, with how similar some of these fraud allegations are to Letitia James, I'd be willing to bet a whole lot of Democrats are going to be scrambling to clean up their financial records here. This seems systemic, like some kind of open secret I think a lot of these politicians have been taking advantage of for a while now.
The hypocrisy is glaring. Just this year, Adam Schiff's Democrats pushed Robert F. Kennedy Jr. off the ballot in New York over his debates about his various residencies.
Well, you know, Adam Schiff, he's connected like Miss James. He gets a pass, right?
It's not just the lower mortgage interest rates. You get a lower interest rate on your primary residence. It's also the lower property taxes. You get a homestead exemption. It's also, you get lower insurance rates on your primary residence. And then there's also the federal tax returns with the mortgage interest deduction. And so there's all kinds of financial benefits for doing this.
Yo, the financial benefits are just the start of this. When you start to dig into some of this stuff, you realize he was playing these games around the same time he was up for re-election, and he might not have actually been eligible. So check this out. In 1998, Adam and his wife, Eve Schiff, purchased a home in Cali, out in Burbank. And then in 2000, he's appointed to Congress representing Cali's 27th district. Okay, everything's normal so far, right? In 2003, he sells his California home. And then he and his wife end up buying this really nice home out in Potomac, Maryland. And they list that home as their primary residence. Now, I know what you're saying. So what? They checked the box, Chromo. Come on. Well, yo, here's where things get really weird. Between 2003 and 2009, the only actually family-sized home I can find for Adam Schiff even owning is in freaking Maryland. Yet between 2003 and 2006, he's moving his Cali registration between various small apartments. I mean, we're talking tiny one-bedroom apartments. Why would he be raising a family in a tiny-ass apartment when he literally owns a house that was seemingly bought with the specific intention of raising a family? And it's in a location, Potomac, Maryland, just outside of DC, with access to everything that brings for their kids. It's just not adding up to me. Now, from here, I guess he felt like if he could get away with being a California representative while living in Maryland, this dude could get away with anything because he stopped even trying. So things go dark for a couple of years. In the meantime, Adam Schiff's net worth just explodes, literally more than doubling in that span from around $500,000 to about $1.1 million. Now, in 2009, he finally changes it up. He heads back to Burbank, California, and he buys himself another 650 square foot tiny one-bedroom apartment. And this has been Adam Schiff's living situation to this day, this entire time. Yo, how would you guys feel if you found out the politician that represented you didn't even live in your district, low-key was just faking it and living all the way up in DC? How would that make you feel, man? Would you vote for that guy again? I mean, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing here? What are the chances this dude is spending the majority of the year away from his family, living in a tiny little condo? All of his connections are in DC. His whole life is in DC. His kids, his wife. What has he got out in Cali? What is there? What point is there for him to spend so much of the year out in Cali? You don't just fake it till you make it being a representative of your district, bro. There's charges that come with stuff like this.
This is a big problem. There was a conviction of a Baltimore state attorney, Marilyn Mosby is her name. She was convicted for mortgage fraud for a very similar circumstance. As you mentioned, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Democrats tried to kick him off of the ballot, or successfully did, in New York for a similar residency discrepancy. And there's a host of other people who have had this problem of declaring two primary residences in places where they're actually not living full time.
I love how they don't even mention that under federal law, you have to be an inhabitant of the state you represent in order to represent them. And there's serious questions as to whether Adam Schiff can even establish that with what we're finding going on here. That means he could have ran and won multiple times while being completely ineligible to do so. Here's where it gets even more wild. The penalties in Maryland for fraud, mortgage fraud, are so steep, he's going to seriously have to weigh whether or not he needs to face mortgage fraud allegations in Maryland or voter fraud allegations in California. Because mortgage fraud in Maryland could land you in jail for 20 freaking years.
Back in 2009, Schiff was mentioned for this because he's been doing it for that long. And he said, he actually admitted, oh, I made a mistake. Now, you can't make a mistake and profit financially from that mistake without consequences. But nonetheless, Nancy Pelosi was in charge of the House, back then, and she should have investigated. But of course, why would she? So that was back in 2009. He said, quote, mistake. They said it was a clerical error in 2009. But here's the thing. They said in 2009 it was a mistake and a clerical error. He refinanced the Maryland property in 2011 and in 2013, and he checked the box principal residence both of those years. And so if it was a mistake, now we know now he refinanced the Maryland property around 2020 recently. And guess what? He checks the box second home. And so that is basically an admission that he knew he was, violating these rules. And in 2011-13, he had full knowledge of what he was doing, and he checked the box anyway.
If that's true, Adam Schiff has even less of a defense for his mortgage fraud than Letitia James does, dude. Adam Schiff might have one-upped Letitia James here with all this.
These have been submitted by Christine Bish to the House investigative committees. And it's pretty much smoking gun. I mean, he can say that he screwed up, but many other average Americans have been convicted with far less evidence for this serious crime. And so, it really upsets people when you and I have to live by all of the rules. And then someone like Adam Schiff, who is loaded off of all of his, policy, he gets very rich being a congressman. We don't know how these people like Nancy Pelosi, stock queen Nancy Pelosi, get so rich off of their public service. But Adam Schiff has done extremely well for himself, and for him to be taking these additional financial benefits and not repaying them, he needs to repay as a form of restitution the benefits he got.
Adam Schiff, man, we have been waiting patiently, and boy, did this guy deliver. Hey, you guys rock. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one.